Your stock opened almost 3% lower this morning, and you lost absolutely nothing. A cash dividend is simply money paid out per share from the company to the people who own it. In our example, the company declares $3 for every single share you hold. But this is not free money. Every cent of it leaves the corporate bank account and arrives in yours. The company is worth exactly that much less, so the market price steps down to match it. And because none of this happens instantly, one dividend actually carries 4 separate dates. First, the declaration date. This is the day the board announces the amount and the schedule. Then the most important one. On the X date, buying the stock no longer gets you that dividend. Next, the record date, when the issuer looks at its books to see who the registered holders are. And finally, the payment date, which is when the money genuinely turns up in your account. These are 4 different days, and swapping one for another is a genuinely common way to get this wrong. Owning it on the record date is not enough on its own either. Settlement rules decide who was really entitled. So let us follow the actual numbers. The day before, this stock closed at 102. On the X date, it closed at 99. On the chart, that looks like a loss of nearly 3%. But you also received $3 in cash. That has to count for something. Add the dividend back, and the total return that day was exactly 0. Not a loss at all. Nothing evaporated here. The value simply moved out of the share price and into your cash balance. Which is why a raw price chart quietly understates how well a dividend-paying stock has actually done. So we restate the history. Take the prior close, subtract the dividend, and divide by that same close. That gives a factor of 0.9705. Every price before the X date gets multiplied by it. 102 becomes 99. 100 becomes 97. Now the chart is comparable across the event, which means one stock can have 2 completely legitimate price histories and they drift apart over the years. Now it gets harder. Tax is often withheld at source, so $3 gross can reach you as $2.55. That single difference is why the same index is published in both a gross and a net version. Yield is just the dividend over a price, but over which window and measured against which price. Dividends also come in ordinary and special flavors, and the two often get treated completely differently. And large does not automatically mean special. A written policy decides that, not the size of the check. In our own example, a second distribution was classified as special, and the methodology excluded it completely. And the amount itself can change. Ours was first reported as $2.50, then corrected upward to $3. So the honest answer to what was the dividend depends entirely on when you ask the question. The fintechbuilder.com works through all of it, with the factor maths and code you can actually run. Most people watch a dividend stock drop on the X date and quietly panic. Subscribe, and you will not be one of them.